Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Tuesday, October 15th. I'm actually recording this on Monday, though. Still in Vegas, have a nighttime flight back home to Pittsburgh. So another podcast here from this beautiful hotel room that I've actually enjoyed very much. But in any case, going to talk a little college football with you. It was all Steelers yesterday, and going to do a little college football and Pirates. First, want to remind you, though, that we're brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with the insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so I first want to start with a little bit of a personal story. I flew out here on Saturday, and my flight left at 4 o'clock. Pitt-Penn State both play in 3:30 window. It was the most glorious flight out ever. Just had my iPad going. Actually had two screens. I was worried that people were looking at me like some screen-addicted weirdo, but I got the iPad going, got the phone going, watching both games. It was just absolutely fantastic, and I've loved this 6-0 start by both of our teams, Pennsylvania teams, I should say. No offense, West Virginia was watching a little bit of that on Saturday as well, but really, really impressive stuff. I think we probably expected Penn State to be 6-0, right? All of their season is going to sort of boil down to the Ohio State game, which suddenly takes on a little bit of a different meaning now that the Buckeyes lost on Saturday night to Oregon. By the way, rankings shake up. Penn State up to number 3, Oregon number 2. Still really excited for that early November game, but I don't know if the craziest among us expected Pitt to be number 20 in the AP poll, right? There's absolutely no way. And oddly, they've been doing it with offense, and I will take the blame, I guess, here. I wrote a column a couple days ago about their prolific offense, talked about it a little on here, and well, they had, one of their worst, I should say the worst offensive game of the season against Cal, but the defense really stepped up in a big way. Was mostly impressed with those guys. 6 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. The offense had gained just 277 yards, scored 17 points, both season lows. Eli Holstein was not his usual prolific self, 14 of 28, 133, 2 interceptions, and no touchdowns. So to me, that showed Pitt can win various ways, which I think is important, will be even more important as they get deeper into ACC play, but showed me a lot with that thing. And I mean, you don't want to think about the college football playoff. It's crazy, an ACC championship, all this stuff. And really, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. 4 ranked teams in the ACC, Miami, Clemson, SMU, never want to look ahead of anybody, certainly. But Pitt has been very good, very encouraging, have absolutely loved what I've seen out of them. Some entertaining football. If they go 7-0, also be the first time since 1982 they were ranked number 1 in the country there. Penn State, it was a little bit more of a nail biter, but probably a more entertaining game, to be honest with you. I really, really liked watching that. Tyler Warren is a fascinating player. I don't know if I talked about this at all yesterday or last week or anything like that, but is one of my favorite watches in college football. 17 catches, 224 receiving yards, just did everything. Threw a pass, had a run, snapped the ball, and then caught a touchdown pass. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to be writing about him for later in the week. I'm fascinated by him. Talked to his high school football and basketball coach. Was a 3-sport athlete in high school in Virginia. Was all state in all 3. And it's just so fun to watch, man. I know that he's not going to win the Heisman or anything like that, but he sure is entertaining. Just the engine that drives that Penn State offense. Was also impressed with Drew Allar, who I always call Aller. So I make sure, don't want to say that, but put up some numbers, 382, 28 of 40 passing, threw 2 picks. But this was not one of his best games. And he really showed me a lot by continuing to go after it, continuing to give his team a chance, keeping his head up, really mature, impressive stuff. Loved seeing that. And the kickers in both of these games, I'm actually going to be writing about this for later Tuesday into Wednesday. This might be like the cradle of kickers right now. Dead serious. Ryan Barker was 4 for 4, hit the game-winning kick in overtime to down USC. Ben Sauls hits from 58, tying the program record for Pitt. Chris Boswell hits 4 for the Steelers. He's been the best kicker in the NFL this season, just casually kicks 50-plus yard field goals. It's been incredible. I don't know if there's a better place for kickers than right here in Western Pennsylvania. But 2 very big wins for Pitt and Penn State. Wanted to make sure I talked about those equally. And hey, we can dream, right? Penn State, it all sort of points to that Ohio State game. We'll see what happens. I would expect them to be in the college football playoff. Pitt sounds insane, but They keep looking good. They keep finding different ways to win. Could they meet? Could they meet? That would be my fantasy. Might be yours too. It'd be a heck of a lot of fun. We'll see if it happens. Going to take a short break. I want to talk some baseball and a few other things on the other side. But first, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. I'm your host, Jason Mackey. We're here Monday through Friday around 10 a.m., around 10 minutes, talking all kinds of things. Pittsburgh sports, thank you very much for finding us. All right, so the Pirates, they'll get to the business of baseball eventually. It is chill until after the postseason. That's intentional. But they have some arbitration-eligible guys. Andrew Destin wrote about them, and that's something they're going to have to, some decisions they're going to have to make. Some are very easy, some are not so easy. And I'm going to run down the list. David Bednar, Brian De La Cruz, Connor Joe, Bailey Falter, Joey Bart, Dennis Santana, Johan Oviedo, Colin Holderman, Ben Heller. Some of those you will hear, they're very easy, right? Like, do we need to talk about Joey Bart? He's going to make $1.8 million, set career highs in home runs, doubles, RBIs, was excellent. Should be their opening day catcher? No, we don't really need to talk about that. Even Dennis Santana, the arbitration projection is $1.8 million. He's worth every penny. He was their best reliever. It was fantastic. 2.44 ERA, 50 strikeouts, 44 in a third innings pitched in 39 games. Bring him back. It's easy. Colin Holderman hit a rough patch, but was actually fairly solid. I would not question that. Not going to question Johan Oviedo. Not going to question Bailey Falter. The other ones, and Ben Heller, unfortunately, sorry, Ben, is probably an easy non-tender. There he comes up with $1 million, and I'm not going to spend $1 million on Ben Heller. The ones who require a little bit more debate, I would argue, David Bednar, Brian De La Cruz, Connor Joe, and actually that's it. Just the three. I thought there was a fourth. But what do you do with those guys? Bednar at $6.6 million. I'm probably going to tender him a contract. I'm probably going to bank that he can come back from this. If nothing else, you probably hope that he comes back from this, and then I guess at that point you trade him. I'm not sure. Maybe you go with him right now with a bargain basement extension offer. Try to make that $6.6 million go away. I don't know. That's a risk. If you're the Pirates, you're risking, or you're gambling that the issues that plagued him in 2024 are going to be behind him. Myself, I believe that they will. I think there's a very good pitcher in there. I think it was a lot tipping, location of fastball. If you look under the hood, there's nothing that appeared off with the movement profile of his fastball, of his curveball. Just didn't locate stuff as well. He didn't suddenly forget how to pitch. He didn't suddenly lose his mechanics or something like that. Well, I guess he suddenly lost mechanics to the point that the ball was spraying, but I think it's fixable. I would pick up David Bednar's contract. Again, I'd try to maybe negotiate an extension, see what that looks like, or a multi-year contract. Maybe lessen that figure a little bit, but I really don't see him going anywhere. All right. The other two, Brian De La Cruz, $4 million, Connor Joe, $3.2 million. I might think really hard about non-tendering Brian De La Cruz for the reason being that it really didn't work out. This was not the intent. And maybe this is something the Pirates look at and say, no, absolutely not. We acquired the guy to be here for multiple years. He came with multiple years of club control. We're comfortable paying it, whatever. Well, it wasn't great. 44 games, had a 514 OPS, 3 homers, 6 doubles, negative 1.5 WAR, according to Baseball Reference. That's a heck of a gamble for $4 million, especially at a position where I don't know what else I'm going to do. And what I mean by that is, what if Jack Sawinski actually is good with a new hitting group? What if Henry Davis actually is good with a new hitting group and you need somewhere to play him? O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, they're probably going to be in my outfield. I'd like to add a bat. I don't know if I want to spend $4 million on a guy that showed me nothing in 44 games. I don't think it means Brian De La Cruz is a bad player, but I might think long and hard about spending that money differently, because I think on the free agent market, you could probably do better for $4 million than what Brian De La Cruz gave you. But you're also admitting failure in a trade deadline deal, and you gave up stuff to get them. It's not exactly the Pirates' style right now. The last one is Connor Joe, and love Connor Joe. He's a fantastic human being. Love interviewing him. He's one of the most thoughtful, introspective, polite. You can't say enough great things about the person. For business-wise, $3.2 million to do what he does, probably not going to do that. He hits left-handers well, has some versatility to him. I don't know if that's enough to justify that sort of dollar figure. Don't have a great read on which way the Pirates will go. They have loved Connor Joe, but at the same time, you need more offense. Now, Connor Joe does exemplify the approach at the plate that they love so much. But again, I don't know if I'm spending $3 million on a guy whose OPS is going to be in the high 700s against lefties and then it's discernibly worse against righties. I could probably spend $3.2 million other places. So if I absolutely have to sort of make decision right now, right this second, again, which they don't do, they prefer context, but I'm probably tendering Bednar contract, non-tendering De La Cruz, non-tendering Joe, tendering everybody else, and non-tendering Ben Heller. So what do you think? I don't know. Email me, let me know, comment. Make sure you like and subscribe. You get all these videos and much, much more from other Post-Gazette writers and columnists. And I'm going to fly back here tonight, talk to you in another day or two, right here in this same place. Thanks for watching First Down, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.